to priests and celebrants, to the musicians and others, the chairs of the event. But I also want to thank Kathy Pedrero, our Director of Alumni and Parent Relations, for all the work that she does throughout the year with the Mothers Club and coordinating so many events and being the liaison between the President's Office and the Mothers and Dads Club. Kathy does such a wonderful job. She's standing in the back. Thank you so much, Kathy. And also thanks to Lori Tappan, the president of this year's president of the Mothers Club, and her executive board for the tremendous work that they do in keeping and moving everything ahead this year. Thank you, Lori. So it's tradition for several years now for us to have the Mothers Club Mass and Breakfast on Super Bowl Sunday. It's a great day, great way to start the calm morning, relatively quiet streets, get ready for the big festivities ahead. I know that I will be sitting in front of the television set this evening with a Saints shirt on, watching and cheering for the Patriots. I think you all should too. Highlight of the Mother-Son Mass and Breakfast is the address by two of our seniors representing not only their classmates, but really all of the sons here, because part of why we do the Mother-Son Mass and Breakfast, as well as the Men for Others dinner in the spring with the fathers and sons, is to honor this relationship of parents and our sons. The foundation that our students receive at home, their religious foundation, the personal foundation they receive, the life of the family from which they come helps build the success that they achieve at Jesuit. Without that firm foundation, without the support and the involvement and participation of our parents, the great success that our students have would just simply not be possible. So much of the good that comes out of Jesuit High School comes out of the goodness of the families, the strength of our family life. And these events are meant to highlight that. And so today, we really want to thank the mothers, all the mothers here. There are even a number of faculty and staff members here with their mothers. So we want to thank you for all that you've done for us. For those, including myself, who have lost their mothers, today is a good day to pray for them. I always pray in a special way for my mother at the Mother-Son Mass. And it's just a wonderful occasion to have you all together. And we thank you for being here. The senior talks are meant to help us reflect on different aspects of our relationship with our mothers as they speak about theirs. The first speaker this year is a member of the National Honor Society. He's been involved in the business club and the yearbook committee. For the basketball and baseball teams, he's serving this year as team manager and working towards attending Texas Christian University. He happens to be the youngest member of the senior class, since he skipped a grade somewhere before Jesuit. So at the age of 16, he's the youngest member of the senior class, Jovan Deeb. And of course, he sat as far away as he could.
So as some of you may know, my mother has been raising me by herself, essentially since I came out of the womb. And by no means has it been smooth sailing. There are obstacles of financial struggles, custodial struggles, and other things of that sort that naturally come with being a single parent. She worked in whatever way she could to provide an amazing childhood for me, her only child. You see, my mom worked as a sponsorship specialist, if that's the name you want to call it, for a long time, and got to know what I would think of as everyone in the city of Tampa. So she found ways for me to enjoy luxury activities we wouldn't have been able to afford without her connections. Whether it's football games, concerts, or expensive meals, she allowed me to enjoy whatever I desired. She did a tremendous job by herself filling the hole in the absence of my father, and continued to compensate by surrounding me with people who love me and who I love almost as much as I love her. Despite whatever was going on, she always made sure that she could make ends meet for me to have fun. That most notably includes playing sports, as she took on the expenses and the time commitments with a smile on her face, knowing that she was keeping a smile on mine. The best example of this selflessness she always seemed to display was prevalent during my days of travel baseball. The constant weekend trips to Plant City and Lakeland were commitments in themselves. But there were certain instances when she could not make the games at all because of work. While those were very few and far in between, I happened to be playing extremely well in those games she wasn't there. I didn't want to say she was my bad luck on the field since I played well with her there too, but I asked her not to go to the big games we had so that I could play at what I believe to be my full potential. Needless to say, that idea was shot down real quick. Very hard for a parent to willingly miss their son's games. But she made the effort to create the illusion of it by sitting in the car with a view of the field. I knew she was there most of the time, but it was the effort that mattered the most to me. And this was only a singular example of her selfless acts. I could think of many more. She constantly cooks up restaurant-level spreads of food in the kitchen. She's been chauffeuring me around for 16 years, almost 17. And she does my loads of laundry after I discover at 11:30 the night before that I have no clothes for school the next day. Would I hear about it upon asking, and for the next couple days, maybe even weeks? Absolutely. But she never hesitates to do it. I can't harp on enough how much her work ethic, both in the realm of motherhood and in her own endeavors, inspires me to accomplish my goals. Through periods of unemployment, it was looking bleak for her and for us. I've heard the phrase, money will be tight for a while, more than most. But she would never let the current moment deter her from her path of where she wanted us to be. And in my opinion, that's one of the best influences a mother can have on their child. She not only gave that example by embodying it, but has made it crystal clear that she will do whatever it takes on her end to assist me in finding my way in life and completing my goals. She's always done a great job of keeping me focused on my primary goal at this point, which is getting into TCU. And of course, also, the goal of becoming successful enough to buy her one of the lavish cars that she is in awe of in the Jesuit parking lot. Basically, she's either giving me encouragement to get good grades or giving advice on what color Range Rover to get her. But in actuality, that would be the least I could do to repay her for the life she has given me. Mom has kept me in the position to be successful, and she has made tough decisions to get me to this point in my life. And as much as I might fight some of them, and as little as I may say this, she has been right. The last thing a teenage boy wants to hear is that he will go to an all-boys middle school and high school. But I am beyond grateful for the experiences and preparedness that have come about from that decision and many more. Everything my mother does is out of love for me, and I can only hope to come close to being that for my children. It is incredibly difficult to put into words what my mother means to me. She's my rock in my entire world. It means so much to have someone like her in my life. So Mom, thank you for being everything I could ask for. You have loved me since I was born, and I have loved you my entire life. Thank you.
Attaboy. Our second senior speaker is an NHS member as well, President's List last semester, member of the African American Club, interested in pursuing linguistics in college, and he's the vice president of the band, attaining an excellent rating in state-level solo and ensemble competition, Drew Hanis.
For those of you who have not had the privilege of knowing my mother personally, I'm sorry. Your life is much worse than mine. The relationship I have with my mother is one unlike any other in my life. When I was about a year old, I was sleeping in the crib in my room while my mother worked around the house. Over the baby monitor, my mom heard a loud noise, and like any mother would, she rushed across the house in full protection mode, ready to defend her child from whatever horrible criminal monster was attacking her. Unfortunately, what my mother quickly found out was that I had climbed out of my crib, fallen to the floor, and crawled over to the door. She found this information out when, after this unexpected result, when she slammed the door into my head. You can see the effects are currently affected. After this unexpected result, she picked me up and consoled me while I nursed a bump. Thankfully, I haven't seen too many adverse effects. This interaction between the two of us resulted in my mom buying a crib net. It's a little hard to describe. Sort of a top that you would place on top of a crib. She would zip me in it every night. She would wave at me while she slowly zipped me in, and I stared up at her, confused and betrayed. I think there are two takeaways from this story. One, my mom always has her best intentions when it comes to helping me. And two, it doesn't always go how we think it will, but we'll still make it through it together. We've shared countless experiences filled with laughs, stories, and those all too important mother-son tears. We've always been extremely close, my mother and I. People used to tell my parents I had the looks of my dad, but the personality of my mom. As I aged, I saw this evaluation come true as I modeled my mom's mild manners and joyful personality, most of the time. We share a deep love for literature. I'll often rant on and on to my mom about some interesting passages I've read recently. My mother is also a teacher, and my brother and I attended the same school she taught at, from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade. Drives to and from school were spent sharing countless numbers of stories until I reached 7th grade, and my brother, being the excellent student he was, began to attend Jesuit High School as a freshman. And that would be just my mom and me on those drives. You might think we've grown tired of each other, but quite the opposite happened. You see, my mom has a very outgoing personality, something I assuredly get from her. It draws you in, and you can't help but want to engage with her. She can't help but throw herself into every social interaction she can. Mother's Club, Gaudiosa, book clubs, it doesn't matter. My mom is truly herself when she's surrounded by the people she loves. I can't remember all the times we've been unable to stop laughing from a joke we've shared, or all the hugs to console each other in dour moments. My mom has always been by my side. Through the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows, she's never even entertained the thought of leaving me to my own devices. My mom will forever see me as her little baby boy. She always tries to protect me. Is there enough gas in the car? Where are you going? Be back by curfew. And her favorite, who's that girl you're talking to? But recently, I've had a shift in perspective on this trait of my mom's. Partly because I feel the same way towards her. Someone very close to us recently, my Aunt Michelle, was diagnosed with breast cancer. Luckily, it was caught early enough, and she's been recovering. But no matter how minor an encounter it was still scary for us. One which scared me especially. I thought about my mom and how much I rely on her for everything. She's the first one I talk to when I have a problem, question, or issue. What happens when she isn't there for me? What happens when I go off to college? What if I move states? I just hope I can make her proud of me. I just hope that eventually we are apart from each other. No matter how far it might be, she'll love me, and I'll still be her little baby boy. No matter where I'm going or what I'm going to do, I'm going to make her proud of me. I love you, Mom.